We are talking about The Twilight Zone, by the way, everybody. Season 3, Episode 6, Eye of the Beholder.
Um,
Um, so,
yeah.
for those of you who don't know what The Twilight Zone is, which, come on. The Twilight Zone is an American science fiction horror anthology television series created and presented by Rod Serling, which ran for 5 seasons on CBS from October 2nd, 1959 to June 19th, 1964. That seems so short for how famous it is and
Yes.
on TV. Let's see. Okay. Because I would watch the reruns when I was growing up, and I grew up really in the 80s. So they were on then, and we were watching them. The episode you picked, The Eye of the Beholder. I'm going to go through the recap of that. And I messaged Grace because she sent me the episode and I didn't look at the description. And when you said the Twilight Zone, I said, there's one episode of the Twilight Zone I remember so perfectly clearly, and this is the episode. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh,
That's so funny. Yeah, I remember when I got the message, it made me smile.
Aw.
I was glad that somebody knew that episode because, I
Yeah.
mean, I watch a lot of old shows, so most people my age and our age don't ever watch the old Twilight Zone. They may be familiar. I guess they did a remake, but
Yes, they did.
I can't make myself
You
watch
can't
it.
make
It's
yourself.
just
Mhm.
Rod Serling is the Twilight Zone, and if
Yeah.
he's not in it, it's
It's
not the
not the
same.
Twilight Zone. No. Okay. So here's the plot. Janet Tyler has undergone her 11th treatment, the maximum number legally allowed, in an attempt to look normal. Her head is completely bandaged so that her face is entirely covered, and her face is described as a, quote, pitiful, twisted lump of flesh by the nurses and doctor. Lurking in the shadows of the darkened hospital, they're lurking in the shadows of the darkened hospital room. The outcome of the procedure cannot be known until the bandages are removed. Unable to bear the bandages any longer, Janet pleads with the doctor and eventually convinces him to remove them early. As he prepares, the nurse says that she still is uneasy about Janet's appearance. The doctor becomes displeased and questions why Janet or anyone must be judged on their outer beauty. The nurse warns him not to continue in that vein as it is considered treason. The doctor removes the bandages and announces that the procedure has failed and her face has undergone no change. But Janet's appearance is actually that of a classically beautiful looking woman based on the beauty standards of the world we live in. The doctor, nurses, and other people in the hospital, however, are revealed as monstrous, with drooping features, large, thick brows, sunken in eyes, swollen and twisted lips, and wrinkled noses with extremely large nostrils like pig snouts. Distraught by the failure of the procedure, Janet runs through the hospital as what is considered normal in this alternate society. State is revealed. Flat screen televisions throughout the hospital project an image of the state's leader giving a speech calling for greater conformity. Eventually, a similarly attractive human looking man named Walter Smith arrives to take the crying, despondent Janet Tyler into exile to a village of her, quote, own kind, where her, quote, ugliness will not trouble the state. Before the two leave, Walter comforts Janet, saying that she will find love and belonging in the village and that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, meaning that even though the people from the state and their society might find Janet Tyler ugly, others will find her beautiful. Who got you to watch Twilight Zone? Was it just on, or was there someone in your family or something?
My dad.
Yeah.
My dad and I still watch it.
Aw.
I've probably been exposed to the Twilight Zone earlier than I can remember because that was one of his favorite shows that he always had on. So,
Hmm.
I could have been in the vicinity and he had it on, but
Yeah.
he really got me interested in it, and
Hmm.
it didn't take much for me to get, you know,
Hooked.
attached to the show because I
Yeah.
love to analyze, and
Hmm.
at first glance it may seem like it's just another science fiction black and white old show
Right.
that may not be relevant to modern times because it's so old, but I found that watching not only this episode that we're talking about but the
Hmm.
other ones, they're very relevant to modern
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
um,
This one definitely. Um, just the idea of beauty and the different trends and how I find myself being like hypnotized into it. Like, my lips aren't full enough.
yeah,
My lips
yeah,
aren't full enough.
you're
My
constantly comparing yourself to
Oh my
others, and
gosh. I mean,
And
it
social
used to,
media is
yeah,
really, I think, was a lot of that.
obviously, even before social media, there'd be the magazines, but it's so much worse now because it's
Mhm.
just in your face everywhere.
Yes,
Um,
that's what I was gonna say, it's
Everywhere you
literally
look.
in your face.
Um,